What is up, guys? My name is Rahul, and today you're looking at the stupidest deck that I have probably ever played at a tournament. So for context, there's a lot of different archetypes in the Pokemon trading card game, and I've been known to be a very aggressive player. I pick the decks that go boom, 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 ka-chow, take those prizes, 1, 2, 3. I'm the guy who's knocking, I'm the one who knocks. This time around, I decided to feel a little bit goofy silly. So I headed to the Charlotte Regional Championships with my boys. It was about a 6-hour drive, so I decided, hey, why not? Let's go. I didn't really want to play any more of this format. My finishes are really good, so I'm in a position of privilege where I can just focus on the UIC. I don't have to go to Fort Wayne. I don't have to go to Charlotte. But the guys were like, hey, let's go on a road trip. It'll be a lot of fun. And so I went. And on the road there, we were talking about decks, and I wasn't really sold on anything in particular. I wanted to play something out of my comfort zone because I wanted to try something. I wanted to try something new. I played Regis for the last couple of tournaments and Lugia, which are the two best decks in this format, I firmly believe. So I was like, I want to play something outside of my comfort zone. I want to play something interesting, per se. So I was talking to my team, and Isaiah Bradner, who was not coming, brought up the idea of Control. He said, like, you should play Control. I think it's a really cool idea, blah, blah, blah. So we're talking through all the matchups. I wasn't fully sold, but it seemed like a lot of fun because I'd never taken the Control archetype to any tournaments, not even a league challenge. I've never, ever, 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 ever played Control in my life. So I figured, why not just bust it out at a regionals? I'm a good player. Things make sense. Let's do it. Just don't. It's a lot. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and there's just some cards that just beat you, and it feels really bad when you just lose to those cards. And I'll explain why I got even lucky to get the amount of wins I did throughout the day when we get there. I deserved 0 of my wins. I should have literally been 0-4 drop probably, so I deserved none of them. Sorry. So I went with Control. In our car was Victor. You guys can check him out on Twitter at It's Vic. He had this Turbo Lost Box idea with a bunch of fun tech cards in it, and he sold Justin on it. Justin did finish top 4, so you guys can check that out later. I'll go through the top 8 decks later this week. And his deck was really cool. I think that deck was probably the correct deck for the tournament, and I knew that fully well in my heart going in. But I really, really wanted to play Control. I really, really wanted to do it, and like it's like that, like like the angel and the devil on your shoulder. My angel was just nowhere to be found, but like the devil was just telling me like go, go, go kind of thing. So I did it. I locked in Control, and Will Jenkins, one of my good friends, locked it in with me, and we full sent. Let's talk about some of the cards in the list. We chose to play Manaphy because Raikou is a problem, and it's in every Lugia list at this point in time, so getting early Raikou like turn 2 is not fun because then they just take 2 prizes for the cost of 1 Raikou or 3 energies, and then they can just cheat the prize trade by going with Luminian Loops, and Luminian Loop can be stopped with Gardevoir, so you can't get Luminian on your Yveltal. There's 3 copies of Peonia because you really need to be, like, if you Peonia the first time and you don't find your new 2 pieces, Peonia a second time is very important. So discarding 1 early is inevitable, so I think 3 is really good because there's a lot of pieces in here you don't want to prize, like Yelchir, Silene, Palpad. The loop is built on those 3 cards. MF Sisters is to close out the games a little bit quicker. I'm really glad I played the card. Gallermine is one of the most broken cards in the deck, plus Yellhorn, because you can stick a lot of things in the active and force them to play into your game. Jammer is for Lugia as well as Mew, whereas Parasol is for Regigigas, which I unfortunately was the proponent of building that deck. Playing a 5th energy here with the double turbo is another energy to have for Cry of Destruction, which is really important in the early game. Cut and dried list, no hammers. We just felt like hammers were a win more card. Everything makes sense. Let's jump into my matchups. Round 1, I go against Patrick. Patrick is playing Lost Zone box, basically just Azul's, very similar to Azul's 60 from OCIC. Patrick plays game 1 correctly, gets to where he needs to be, and wins the game with the Drapion. Game 2, he, I think, board locks himself in a weird way, but has 2 nets remaining. I think 1 rod, and I know the Drapion is inevitable at some point, but he's not taking prizes because I think I confused a Cram or something in the active, or a Raikou V or something like that. And I went ahead and used an MF Sisters when he had like 7 cards in deck and hit 2 nets and a rod. So I felt really comfortable to close out that game, and then game 3 was just never going to conclude. So a tie against a terrible, terrible, terrible matchup because Drapion plus a card that can accelerate energy in 1 turn to it is an auto loss from you too. I really can't do anything about it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But yeah. Then the next round I go against Jamai. Jamai's playing Lugia. I feel like it's a normal Lugia game 1. I'm cooking. I got everything going for me. I've got him in a position where I don't think I can lose the game. And then Jamai, and I go into my Mewtwo to kind of close out the game, which I think was a huge mistake. I should have just chilled and forced Jamai to power up his like last 4 energies somewhere and just like sat there with like a Snorlax or an Yveltal and just waited for him to do something. But I think he had 2 prizes remaining, maybe 1. Maybe it was because he had 1 that I went ahead and got aggressive. I think that might have been the reason. I don't remember exactly. All I remember is Jamai goes Irida for Switch, Quick Ball for Drapion, bench the Drapion, switch into Drapion, and accelerate 4 energies to it and knock me out. And I was like, oh man, I got. And then game 2, Jemai also had like the turn 2 boss Aqua Return with a Lost City, which is not a card that Lugia normally plays, to knock out my Manaphy. And then he went into the Raikou on turn 3, managed to take a ton of prizes there, using the switch once again to good effect. And then I had him locked because the Raikou was stuck, and so I was pretty confident that I could win that game. And then I had 8 Silene Tails to lose the game, which sucked. So that I just needed to put back Palpad to keep the loop going, to get the Yell Cheer back and whatever, but like 8 Silene Tails to lose the game. And yeah, it was probably going to be a tie even if I won game 2, because we probably didn't have enough time for game 3. But Jemai gave me a run for my money, and I'm 0-1. Round 3, I go up against Brad Erickson. Brad is playing Regigigas. Game 1, I execute the strategy flawlessly, even though Brad gets off to a blistering start, gets the 3 Auroras into the discard very quickly, or 2 Auroras into the discard very quickly, and then I get the Parasol Mewtwo, and then the game pretty much ends. Game 2, I get nothing going on my end, and Brad gets roaring off like turn 2 attack, basically, and I lose pretty quickly. Game 3, Brad gets a turn 1 attack, and my hand is just absolutely terrible. Nothing is going my way. I like opened like an Evital, I think, and like I had to go into Gardevoir and like stall for a turn. Basically I didn't find my Snorlaxes fast enough, and I just couldn't get anything rolling, and I ended up losing. So it is what it is, but the deck just craps itself sometimes because there's not many draw cards besides your 4 Research, your 4 Snorlax. That's pretty much it. So it's deck kind of stops working if you don't open Snorlax. Oops. So I'm 0-2-1, so I'm ready to, if I lose one more drop, go home, chill out with the boys. I'm beating myself up because I'm like, why did I play this deck? It's so stupid. It's so bad. But I'm having fun because it's like an experiment for me. Round 4, I go against Rebecca Henderson. She was an absolute treat to play against. Very fun opponent. We were having a lot of fun at the bottom tables. Both of us pretty much just enjoying ourselves. She was playing Mew with basic psychic energies, and so she beat me game 1 before I even got to Mewtwo, because she just went like Max Miracle, Max Miracle, Max Miracle. And then game 2, she did not realize that what like my deck kind of did, and so game 2 I was just able to kind of go into Evital, get rid of her fusion energies early and the DTEs, and stick her, like when I got the Mewtwo out, it was just too late because she didn't really know what she was doing. And same with game 3. Like game 3, I got the Mewtwo out and the game pretty much ended because of that and her mismanagement of energies. But if she just played it correctly, I think she beats me like 99% of the time. But that's what control kind of does, beats players that don't know what they're doing. But I think it was an auto loss for me. Rebecca should have absolutely clapped my cheeks. I will say that, but she was a delight to play against. Then I go against Nick. Nick is playing Giratina, and Nick is also playing Path and Drapion. So it's literally the most auto loss of an auto loss the matchup can get. Game 1, Nick lost on the Drapion and a Path early on, and I was like, okay, maybe there's a chance. And then I think I Sydneyed, and I like got rid of some stuff, but I also like saw like 2 Path in his hand, and I was like, or like something where I was like, I can't really deal with this. And I was like, oh man, I'm so boned. And then I go into the Mewtwo, I'm like, this is my crunch time, I have to just do it. I don't have a better chance to do it from here. And then Nick goes into, he plays down a Path, vacuums his own Path to get to 10, bosses up my Mewtwo, and goes ahead. Because I Union Game, and then I like retreated because he had to set up a Giratina, and I did not have a boss to actually damage the Giratina, which sucked. So I just retreated it, or like I don't know how I pivoted out of the active, but I did something. I attached 3 times. Lol, that's what I did. I didn't Union Gain. I actually like got it into play and attached 3 times manually, because he was just kind of playing it slow to me. And then Nick went ahead and used his V-Star attack, which does not work because of Mewtwo's ability. But if he had kept his Path in play or just waited like 2 more turns, I think he could have literally just waited and comfied like 2 more times because I have no hand disruption, and he would have just got the game. And I told him that too. I felt really bad, but like a win's a win for me. And then game 2, I also don't know how I'm going to win this, right? So I'm just trying to figure it out. And then Nick goes to take his first prize with Shred and realizes he did not put out 6 prizes. So I end up getting the win. I feel terrible for Nick. But obviously a little bit of a tilter after game 1. When you make your own mistakes, it does hurt a lot, but it is a learning lesson moving forward. We've all been there. We've all made goofy mistakes. But another matchup that should have been an auto loss. And then round 6 go against William. Game 1, William's playing Fusion Move. He absolutely claps my cheeks. Game 2, I managed to energy lock him pretty quickly, like get rid of all the energy. Everything feels good. And then game 3, we have a Gentleman's, which is really good going into the game. And then it comes down to basically like a Silene from William. And I think he needs like actually double heads to like stay in the game. Based on the Gentleman's, and he does not get it. He gets double tails, which is like an elation for me. And then I go for the Sydney. I hit the Fusion Strike energy out of his hand and a DTE, so now he's left with exactly like 1 Fusion Strike energy for the game. Like he does not have any more energies remaining to attack, and he has like 3 prizes remaining, and time gets called. And the judge is sitting right there watching us, And so I'm like, it's going to be a tie. My tournament's going to end here. And then William looks through his hand, looks at everything, and goes, mathematically, I can't win. So I'm going to go ahead and just give it to you. So huge props to William. You are a god. Like, I don't think many people would actually do that in a situation. Like, a lot of people don't honor gentlemen's. And I hesitate to make them a lot of the time as well. But in a situation where William had like 1 or 2 prizes left and he had like a silent heads, I probably would have conceded and just given it to him because I can't win at that position. So I always honor my gentlemen's, but I don't always expect my opponents to, despite how crappy that sounds. Round 7, I go up against Jose. Jose is playing same thing from round 1, basically like Lost Box, Azul's List kind of thing from OCIC. And Jose is just kind of throwing cards here and there, goes for a Greninja play. And I basically like Yellowhorn his Cram in the active with a Galar Mine, and he gets a couple of unlucky head or tails, so I get to kind of live a little bit longer. And then he gets to a position where he's used like 3 gates, both rods. I think like a lot of his like energy are gone. Like Recycler is gone. I'm counting everything, and I'm like, even if he has Drapion, I don't think he can win the game from here. And so I sit need to look at his hand. I do see the Drapion, and I'm like, oh, it is there. And so game 1, I get the Mewtwo out. Jose reads the Mewtwo and just goes, okay, I'm going to concede this game. And then he signs the slip and says, my deck has no way to answer you. And so in that position, I know that Jose does, like, he auto wins me because of the deck. And so I sit down, I said, like, I hope you don't mind me overstepping. And I explained to him how, like, the matchup is, like, Giga free for him. And he was like, oh, that makes sense. Hopefully I didn't overstep with any of my opponents. I know, like, playing control can get on people's nerves a little bit, and I'm not someone who gets upsetty like this, but I know controls like has a very negative connotation, which is like one of the reasons I've never played it also, because I'm a chatty person, like to have fun at the table. Yeah, anyway. Now I'm 4-2-1, have beating 4 matchups that I should never beat in my life, and tying 1 that I should never tie in my life, putting me in a position where if I win 2 more, I do advance to day 2. If I win 1 more game, I can try to tie for points, which is crazy to me. But then I go into run into Ben, who's playing Flaffy Box, which is probably the most auto loss of an auto loss matchup you can get because they accelerate to their board. They have a Raichu that can one-shot my Mewtwo. They have a Drapion that can one-shot my Mewtwo. They have so many pieces. They have stadiums like Stormy, so my Galars never stick. They're just drawing cards. They're just doing stuff, and I just can never win the game. So Ben absolutely claps me up with the Flaffy Box, and that is the Pokemon that eliminates me from the tournament, and my control experiment ends right then and there. Would I go back and play control again? Absolutely. It was a lot of fun. Was it the right call for the tournament? Absolutely not. This was probably one of the worst decks I've ever played, like I mentioned to you guys. It was just a fun experiment for me, just a fun time to enjoy myself. But going into EUIC, I will be putting a lot more effort in, and you guys will hopefully see a better result from me. Sorry that I've been kind of goofing off the last 2 tournaments. I know it's not the results you guys wanted to see as fans of me, but it's really hard to always give it your 100% going into a season, because if you do that, you're going to burn out at some point. It's 52 weeks. It's a long year, and I wanted to have some fun for the last couple weeks because I think I've earned it. And if I haven't, you guys can tell me in the comments below that I'm just being a bum. But thank you guys for watching as always. Please like and subscribe. Really cool seeing a lot of you this weekend. It still blows my mind how like people ask for pictures and autographs and stuff like that, because like I'm just a guy who plays Pokemon. So like you guys are absolutely amazing for all of that. Like it makes me feel really special, and hopefully I can keep putting out content to help you guys learn and improve and get you all to Worlds next year. Like the goal of this channel is to get people to the World Championships, earn their invites, and that is what I will do for you as much as possible. So thank you.